Yeah. In very, precise manner, it is true. But in practical sense, I'm saying Nefesh Adam is from Klipa Snega, means that there is not one moment, one thing that he does exclusively by the Torah without the involvement of God. Everything else, and it's mixed. Huh? It's exclusively of God. So even though if you analyze it, the Torah, you see that in the Torah there is Seichel and there is in the Rabbi Seichel. Although that practically speaking, we don't separate that. You understand what I'm saying? No. Ruach wasn't not the first creation. Never the Elohim. Right. Rabban is not pending up to Elohim. The contrary, it's more into Teva. But it's able to understand because it has Seichel, as we said, it's able to recognize that there is also a kiss. It's not that it understands that a kiss on its own. This is what we learned. If you look at 6 lines from the bottom, the line begins with Taskil Bazeh. You have the page. You have
Yes.
So it says, you see that Mekolskin at the end of the line, Mekolskin binyon elokus shalomayla mehis havus. Elokus that above his havus, loy tasik klal. That the Nefesh Abam has no access to. Nefesh Abam can relate to a lokus that creates the world. Why? Because it's a world. So logically, the Seichel says there is a world, there has to be a creator. So from that perspective, it gets, so to speak, it relates to a creator. You understand? To Ayin, but not Ayin independently,
Ayin as it is manifest, it shows itself through the creation. But to know the Inyan HaElokus independently, above creation, the Inyan HaElokus in itself, that it has no capability. Letasi klal. I mentioned to you many times when the Rambam says that the first principle of Seichel is to know that there is a first being. Remember that? Yes? Huh? The first principle, the basis of all Seichel, is to know that there is a first being. Motzei Rishon Mamtzi Kol Nimtzu. To know that there's a first being. This knowledge of a first being, this has nothing to do with the world. That means before the world. Even though there is no world. There is no world. There is a capability in the Nefesh HaOdam, in the Seichel HaOdam, in the Ruach HaOdam, to recognize that there is a first being. That is not Nefesh HaBamis. Nefesh HaBamis has no access to that. Nefesh HaBamis knows that there is a world. How does it know there is a world? It experiences it, right? It eats, it sleeps, and does things. There is a world. And then there is the question, where does the world come from? So it recognizes that there is a creator. But not recognizing the Inyan of Elokus independently of the world. You understand what I'm saying? Independently, nothing to do with the world at all. Even if there were no world, the Nefesh HaOdam would know about Hashem, would know Hashem. How would it know? I'm glad you ask. Because, that's how we get into our mind. How would it know?
Because he knows if not for him, there's no being. I mean, if not for the Yamshir, he wouldn't be here.
No, but there is nothing. There is no Mitzvah, it's a world. How would it know that there is a Rebbe? So this is a special Indian, this is a neshama thing. This is what's called a neshama thing. The Nefesh HaBamis, the way we think logically from our worldly experience, it's not true. We know first world, and then we know that there's a creator. But the neshama Elokis, knows things in a totally different order. Before it knows anything, it knows that there is a first being. That's the first thing. And on that basis, it goes on and understands Seichel. What is this first being? You're right. How does it know a first being if it doesn't experience the world? You prepared for the next step? You understand? This is your question. How will you know? So the principle in this is, in world, nothing exists except for the fact that it is being made, that it was made. Why? This cup of tea could be here and could not be here, right? So the fact that it is here, that means something brought it here. Something that was here, that exists before the cup of tea, and it made the tea. Because the tea is not, it's not a must that it should be. Since it's not a must that it should be, therefore, something must have made it. You found the logic? Right? This is true regarding everything in the world and regarding the world itself. The world itself is not a must be. Does the world must exist? Must the world exist? Huh?
I mean, in order for us to operate it, yeah.
No. I'm not talking about in order for us to operate it. In essence, in reality, is there anything in the world that says this world must be? Cannot be that it shouldn't be. The Torah says no. The Torah says Bereshis bara Elokim Zashman. Hashem created the Shema. Before it was created, it wasn't there. Right? So the world is not something that must be. Elokus, Hashem is something that must be. Cannot not be. This is the principal difference, the way we understand, the level that we can understand the difference between world and Hashem. World is something that needs to be created, and if not for the fact that it's created, it wouldn't exist. Hashem was never created.
So,
Did you ever think about that? Who made him Eibishter?
but how do we answer the question how does we understand there's should be? How does that answer the question?
That answers the question by saying, in the Nefesh HaOdam, in the soul of man, in the Nefesh HaLekis, there is a recognition that there is a first being that didn't have to be made, that was always there, that could not be. And this is the source of all existence.
And that's
I'm sorry?
saying that's
That's all, of course.
So we understand that there has to be something.
That's right, there's a first being. This is something which the nefesh, this is the knows that there is a first being. This first being is what the Rambam says is a true being. Meaning to say, it's not a being that was brought into existence, that was created, but it's a true being. It cannot not be. You understand?
Hard to picture, Rabbi.
Huh?
I remember what you said, but it's hard to picture in mind.
Of course you can picture, because the minute you start picturing, you're picturing something finite. Something that's finite has to be made.
Like,
What?
Start to picture it. It just like mechanism.
No. That's right, because the minute you start picturing, you're already not talking about the Meibishter. You understand? Because the Meibishter does not have a form. That's what the Torah says. Lo ein isim kol tmuna. There is no form. The minute you start picturing, you're not talking about the Meibishter. So this is exactly what we're teaching you. When you start picturing, this is the way you form things in your mind, in your seichel. This knowledge that there is a first being comes before the seichel.
Also hard to picture.
This is before the seichel. Seichel is based on it. This is before the seichel. You think the seichel is the whole person? It's the essence of the person? So why you say hard to picture?
No, just...
This is beyond the seichel. This is before seichel. This is the basis. You saw it. I say this. Amud hachokmas leadership shemol tzedishim. This seichel comes after that. We're missing two people today.
He doesn't feel good, he left home.
Lady,
Yeah.
not feeling well. And
Sender doesn't come on Monday.
doesn't come on Monday.
He's not in yeshiva.
Huh?
He's not in yeshiva now.
Oh, he was here by Mincha when he...
Yeah, but
it's okay. Fine. It's okay, as far as I'm concerned. It's fine. I mean, I have good to talk to. You understand what I'm saying? So, hard to picture, I understand. And the fact that it's hard to picture will begin to teach you to think in a way that is beyond picturing. Because the whole idea of picturing is not the real deep seichel of the nefesh. This is seichel of nefesh abams. Because nefesh abams knows things only worldly. Tangible. If it's tangible, it starts picturing things. Nefesh Elikis knows things without pictures. Knows things because they are true. Let me ask you a question. I'll give you an example. And this is what we're trying to do all the time. A human being eats from a plate with a spoon. Right? Because it's a human quality to do that. Yeah? What kind of quality is this? Can you picture it?
What exactly I should picture? Well,
I don't know. You're saying it's a human quality, right? You understand this is a human thing to eat, that this is the way a human being is supposed to eat. Something that exists in a person's mind, in a person's heart, in a person's nefesh. This thing that he is a human being and he has to guard his respect. What is that? Can you picture it? What does it look like?
no, it just understood by itself.
But you can picture it. So here you have something that you understand without being able to form a picture.
Right.
You understand? This is the pshat seichel. The real seichel is not picturing. Nefesh HaPamis tries to picture things. And you know something? If you asked a scientist, who thinks only with his Nefesh HaPamis, he will say, no, there is not such thing as a human thing. The reason a human being eats with a spoon is in order to keep his shirt clean. You understand? Because he cannot think of something that he can picture. That's a concrete reason. But we understand, we certainly see that's not the case. There's something human about it. Nothing to do with the dirty, with the clean shirt. Right? You follow it, right? Huh?
Not the second.
I'm sorry?
Not this exact second.
Not an exact second. Well, I need you with me. You heard what we were discussing about. You can picture. I said that picturing is a nefesh habahamis type of seichel. The real meaning of seichel is not by picture. It's a seichel that recognizes a truth, because it's true. So I asked him, for example, you're talking about God, okay, we can picture God, okay, but talking about a human being, a human quality. It's human to maintain self-respect. What's respect?
Something from Seichel.
Huh?
Something also from Seichel.
What?
Something from Seichel.
Okay, but what picture? What does it look like? It's just there. It's there because he's human, because is there anything in the human being that makes him have that sense, other than the fact that he has a human soul? You answer my question? A human being who grew up in the jungle,
What's jungle?
in the steppes,
What?
in the wild.
Ah.
I tried to, I don't know if
Yeah,
it,
no, you said it right.
yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
Huh?
I just wasn't sure what you did.
Yeah.
Trees, animals,
Okay.
making happen.
So living in the jungle, he wasn't used to. He wasn't careful how he eats and how he was constantly running away from bears, right? Climbing trees, and living like a human being and wearing normal clothes and sitting by a table was the furthest thing from his experience. Do you think that when he comes amongst human beings, he will be able to relate to it and eventually learn and appreciate that type of life? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? Hmm? You would say no? You think that you are sitting here in full, you're dressed up like a mensch only because you were taught to do that. If not for the fact that you were taught to do it, there's nothing inherently in you that makes you feel comfortable like this.
Of course, do you do it?
I'm sorry?
I think that's the way you do it.
Okay, you're doing it because you were told to do it, or you're doing it because you do it on your own?
Because you want to do it.
You want to do it because you were told to do it. My question remains: you want to get out of this. What is the principle behind it?
Rabbi, yes, he will.
Huh?
He will relate to.
I'm sorry?
He will relate to.
You will relate. Okay, I have two eyes. Now I have to get to the third one, fourth one. Anyway, the answer is absolutely he will get to it, because it's a human thing. A human being was created with Salmeina Kidmosin. He has a godlike quality. Where a human being, his whole mode of action, mode of thinking, is not just based on the practical, but he thinks on a level of what's true and what's good, what's real. Let me ask you, I mean, this is a down-to-earth question, but I'd like you to give me honest answers, not what I expect. What I would like to hear, okay? You had an opportunity to steal $1 million. You'll never be caught. You know for sure you can take this $1 million and no one will ever know who took it. I have 2 questions. Would you take it? And the second question, if you failed at the test and you took it, will you feel comfortable with it? You know 100% nobody's ever going to discover good money. Zoxton?
First of all, it depends how if I was religious, you know.
Oh, forget about religious. I'm asking you as a human being.
But I take it.
Start from where? What's your answer?
Probably not. I don't know. Give the test. I don't see.
Okay, I mean, it's a pretty tough test, $1 million. I mean, it's, yeah. But probably not, okay. And if you failed the test and you took it?
No, it's for sure not comfortable.
You want to feel comfortable. Well,
Maybe now I wouldn't take it, but maybe 5 years ago.
I'm asking you now. 5 years ago,
If I would take it, I would not feel comfortable.
you want to feel comfortable. How about you, Nosson?
Well, now I guess I wouldn't, obviously.
Speak up.
Yeah, sure. If I had such a chance, if I'm ignoring Hawaii and everything, I could...
No, you're going, and forget about you,
me as the
right now. I'm asking you a question. Here's $1 million, okay? You can take it and nobody's ever going to find out that you took it.
I would say no to that.
You won't say no to that. How about you?
You wouldn't feel comfortable.
Honestly, huh?
You wouldn't feel comfortable. Normal people would.
I'm sorry?
It's not a right thing, so.
But I didn't ask you if it's the right thing. I asked you a point-blank question, okay? Don't be afraid. Don't, you know, do you think you will be able to take it?
Of course you can, but, you know, of course you could take it. Would you feel comfortable? You wouldn't feel comfortable.
Would you feel comfortable using it afterwards? You took the $1 million. Nobody ever knew that you took it. You take a plane to Honolulu, and you go and live up a life.
Yeah, you still do more. Still get
I'm sorry?
Still do more. You would still go for more.
I
Not more
can,
money, you're saying you have more money than just that. You can do a lot more.
No,
with it.
that $1 million wouldn't satisfy him.
Ah,
Still go for more.
I'm asking you, would you feel comfortable the fact that you are living off stolen money? Well, what's the difference to understand the question? You took somebody's money.
If I did steal money, I would have to feel comfortable. I feel like where I came from. I want to get money.
If you did,
We have to wake up. Okay, I'll tell you. It would be totally childish. I mean, a child is not sensitive to what's happening in his life. But it's totally unnatural for a decent human being to feel comfortable with the fact that you got away with this. There are two aspects, you know, I think I said childish is because a child does not sense responsibility for his own actions. The responsibility for his actions rests with his parents. And he never assumed, responsibility, full responsibility for his actions. Right from wrong. And because, so when a person is still childish, so he may not be sensitive to doing wrong. It is insignificant because he's only a child. Like you say, oh, it's only a kid. But if we understand that we're not children, we're all adults, and we have to have a sense of what life is about and have a sense of responsibility for our lives. Nobody's responsible for you. You're responsible for yourself. After Bar Mitzvah, that's it. It still takes time to realize it. But really, you're responsible for your own. You stand on your own. You're like a man in the day, by yourself. And you have to take on full responsibility for yourself. Once you take that, then you realize, hey, I have to be able to face myself. I have to be able to face the reality. And a human being wants to face the reality, live in the real world, not in a false world. This is all human. Animals do not have that sensitivity. And this is seichel that you cannot picture. Because it's a reality that the REBBE put in us. This is not something that we developed over time. You understand? This is something which the REBBE put in us, in our sense, in a human being. A child, a little child, when you teach them to eat with a spoon at the table, pick up very quickly. And after a while, they refuse to eat with their hands. They have a spoon. A child that has a difficulty in picking up things in the spoon, I've seen it myself, has difficulty, it's still not old enough to be able to pick it up. So, picks up with their hand, puts it in the spoon, and feeds it. Because how can you eat with your hands? You understand? This is nothing to do with training. This is a human quality. This is part of our soul. This is what the REBBE made, the human being. A human being, a normal, healthy human being, cannot walk around without clothes. Do we agree with that? Huh? Cannot. He will be very terribly embarrassed. Correct? Why? Animals walk around without clothes. They're not embarrassed. The reason is because a human being is so made by Hashem that everything that he does, his entire, he has a full body like an animal, everything. But everything in his body is made to serve the brain, the mind. It is not something that works independently. By an animal, every part has its own presence. A human being, the main thing is the brain, is the mind. He has feet. Why does he have feet? Because his mind tells him, I have to be able to go from here to here. An animal will run around with his feet because he has feet, he'll run around. Nothing to do with the brain. Like we point out, a horse, half hour after it stops, it starts running around. Because its brain tells it to run? No, because its feet run.
How does he know to go now?
What? He doesn't know. The feet, they start moving around, standing, and so they learn how to move. It's nothing to do with the brain. A human being cannot do anything but that which the brain already understands. And everything in a human being is totally subservient. Subservient? Under the service, in the service of the mind. It doesn't do anything, there's no independence. So if a human being will go without clothes, what does that mean? That the rest of the body is of equal value as the brain, as the head. They're all independent, like the animal. Everything has its own function, and it goes and it does its own thing. That's very embarrassing to a human being. Because a human being is not feet and not hand, not anything else. He's just a brain. And everything else serves the brain. You understand? So these are things which are real things which are there because the REBBE created us this way. The human being is the most unique creation that the REBBE made. There's nothing similar to that. This is the human being. Like we asked the question a long time ago, you remember? What would the world be without a human being? Remember that question? I don't know if you were present then. What would the world be without a human being? Huh? I'm sorry. Ivory office. The world would be nothing. Would be any value to the world. Find that the horse can move its legs. What's in it? What's in it? A human being. This is the real creation. This is what makes the world, gives the world a real, so to speak, a godly status. Saying, oh, this is God's creation. Otherwise, it's really nothing. Otherwise, you could say it's evolutionary. Who cares? Understand? Okay, so these are all very important exercises. Just to wake us up. According to learn Chassidus, we have to know first and foremost we are human beings. And this is what the Rabbi is saying. The Nefesh Abba has seichel. And its seichel is only able to understand natural things in the world from its experience. Things that it can picture. That's the seichel of Abba. And then the extent, the highest, the first level that you can understand is that there is a creator, that the world was created, yesh me'ayim. The reason it understands it, we spoke about, is because it's the only way to answer the question, where does the world come from? It's still from the world perspective. You understand? The world is there. Where does it come from? It's clearly the world has to come from someplace. So therefore it says, it's yesh me'ayim, but not that it understands ayin per se, independently of the world. And to understand the Elokus above world, independently, that's incapable completely.
It knows of its existence.
It doesn't know anything. How does it know?
That the world came from nothing,
Yeah.
and that nothing exists.
Okay, but that doesn't give it an understanding of what it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. But even there, it knows that there is a koyach that is capable of creating the world. But that this koyach, see, this is what we start off saying, that this koyach is something which has a status, a presence, whether or not the world was created. The first being, something that is true unto itself, that it has no access at all to understand. This is the pshat Elokus. Yon Elokus shalamaylo his habus. Has no Elokus that is above his habus, above creation. It has nothing to do with creation of the world. The truth of Elokus, the godly truth. The Nefesh Abamis is not capable of that. The Nefesh Elokus is capable of that. And we, because we are blessed to have a Nefesh Elokus, are capable of that. Each one of us. And we should not wait for the Nefesh Abamis to be able to picture it, because it's never going to happen. But the fact is, we have that capability. And what is this knowledge? What is it that we understand? We know that there is a true being, that existence is not something that is just something that was made to be, but that there is a truth. There's a godly truth that is present in a real way, not because it was made to be. We cannot understand all the course, but we know that there is such a thing. And that is what we are, what Yiddishkeit is all about. To serve Hashem. We say in davening every day, right? Every day we say this in davening, without exception. Atahu asuloi nivrahu eilam, atahu mishi nivrahu eilam. You say that? You say that? You say that? You say that? What's it mean? That his existence has nothing to do with the world.
He's saying he will it from himself.
Which means that we know of Hashem's presence, not because there is a world. If we know Hashem's presence because there is a world, so how do you know what happened before? What do you know what's going to be after? We're not just saying words, right? We're saying this which we are capable of relating to.
What's the question?
Huh?
What's the question?
If we only know the Hashem because of the world, how do we know what happened before? Ashaloi nivru eilu.
I guess.
Huh?
The Torah doesn't tell us. The Torah doesn't tell us.
You see, you like to make a big mistake. When you learn Torah, you can learn things that you don't understand and then try to understand it. But when you daven, This is something that you yourself are saying. You can't just say words that you have no shaykhs to. Davening is a personal expression. It's not enough what the Torah tells you. The Gemara says that after the Churban Beis Hamikdash, the Chachamim of that time took out from davening the words Hakel HaGodel HaGibe VeHaNeira. Say Hakel HaGodel HaGibe VeHaNeira, right? So they took out the words HaGibe VeHaNeira from davening. Why didn't they take him out? But you didn't believe that Rebbe is Godel and Neira? The Chachamim of that time took out the words from davening that says HaGodel and HaGodel not HaGibe VeHaNeira. Why? Because they said that Goyim came and destroyed his home, his house. Where does he show his gvura? HaGibe, how can HaGibe is evil? Goyim can come and destroy his home. So what does it mean that they didn't believe that Hashem is Giber? No. But if you're davening, you're saying davening, you have to be able to say it, to see it. Otherwise, what are you saying? You're just saying words. You're saying because you're giving Hashem praises, then you can't do that. The only praises that we say in davening is that which we ourselves relate to, experience. That we're allowed to say. That which we don't experience, just speaking about Hashem's greatness, that's an insult. As if you know what Hashem's greatness is. You understand what I'm saying? You understand?
So we relate to it.
But we have to see it. We like to. We see it. We see it so we can say it. But we don't see it, we can't say it. That's in davening. In learning, you can learn anything. And davening has to be, you're standing there and praising Hashem. It has to be something that you can see. And then afterwards, they restored the words back in a davening. How come they restored it back? They said, they saw how Eden survived in Golus. And they said, Shivim Ze'evim, Kipsu Achad Ben Shivim Ze'evim. One sheep survives amongst 70 wolves. That shows a lot of power. Gvura. And therefore, we could say Gvura. We could see Hashem's Gvuras. The fact that the Jewish people survived amongst 70 wolves bent on destroying us, and we survived, then we see the Gvura. That's how we were able to restore it. So when you say Atahu Ashalei Nivro Eilam, not because it says so in the Torah, it's because you can really understand it. You see it, you understand. Otherwise it doesn't belong in davening. So if we only know Hashem because of the fact that He created the world, how do we know what happened before the world, before the creation? So what's the answer? We know. Because we have a neshama, a Jewish neshama, and in our neshama, in our circle, we know. But the Rebbe says before the world and after the world. This is primary. This is a principal knowledge in the Jewish person. That's what the Rambam says. That the basis of all seichel is the first to know that the first being that brings everything into existence. This is not something that we have to prove. This is something that we know as Jews. Okay? This is called Seichel, of Nefesh Ulekis. For which we don't need any proof, and there is no proof, and we don't need any proof, and we don't need the ability to picture it, because we know it with a different kind of Seichel. Not with the Seichel of Nefesh Abba, but Seichel of Nefesh Ulekis. Okay. It was a big investment of time, but hopefully it was worth it.
Well, the Hasidic stock exchange.
What?
Hasidic stock exchange, where you give them a little bit of time and you get a lot of dividends.
Okay. So everything that we are learning here, before you open this book, or any book of Torah, you have to know that you're a human being, that you have a human seichel, that you're able to understand things that are seichelic things, are based on seichel. So let's have 5 minutes. I just want to go inside, and we should read the words that will show us that there's only one way of understanding it. Okay? That's when you said 5 lines from there. This is now 6 lines from the top. When we call Shekem Binyon Elokus Shalamaylo mi his house, Binyon Elokus that is above his house, the Nefesh HaBahamis will not be able to reach into that at all. He has no access to it. What does he know about anything other than world? That's the Nefesh HaBahamis, because it's like a behemoth. He has Seichel, but the Seichel is limited to understand that which a behemoth can relate to, can experience. אבל השכל דנפש הולקיס הוא ההפך מזה לגמרי. השכל דנפש הולקיס is the exact opposite of this. שתשכיל בכל דובר בבחינת הרוחני שבו. What is the nefesh הולקיס focused on to understand? It's immediately turning to the ruchnis of everything. What is the ruchnis of this thing? Okay. We have a very limited time. I want to give you an illustration how the Nefesh Elokus would understand, how the Nefesh Abamis would understand. Huh? How the Nefesh Elokus would understand, how the Nefesh Abamis would understand. We have this sefer on this table. The table is made from wood, 4 legs and a board. That's the primary presence is a table. It is wood, and it's made in this form as a table. Because there is a table, so we can put the book on the table. Primarily, what is there? A table. Wood. Of course, there is wood and there's a table. So we went and we used that opportunity to be able to put the book on it. Okay, then we follow this. This is how it is. How the Nefesh Elokis look at it. Nefesh Elokis looks at it totally the opposite, exact opposite. Forget about the table, forget about the wood. There's a sefer, Torah, from which we have to learn. Because there's a sefer, the sefer made the table, made the wood, made the table.
It made the table, or the table existed for the sake of the sefer?
The same thing, it made it. Why is there, what makes the table stand? The fact that there is a sefer.
And the sefer would not, on the table would not stand?
Otherwise the table would not stand. Doesn't recognize the mitzvahs of the table. Doesn't know what it is.
So this whole being is
Yeah.
and so he doesn't look at that there's a table.
That's right.
So but you need something to learn with, you need a table.
No, you need to learn, and the table comes and helps you to learn. It's a non-entity.
Really, the physical world, that physical world is for the sake of pleasure.
Comes a person into this room and he sees us sitting here. Two different attitudes, two different reactions. Oh, look at this, nice tables, comfortable, people are sitting comfortably and learning. Comes somebody else and says, there are people sitting and learning. The tables are totally by the way. They don't exist. Somebody will go away from the yeshiva and report what he saw. One will say, they have pretty good tables. One will say, these guys really sit and learn. Who would say the truth?
Everyone actually reported that with Americans.
What?
Some people actually reported that with Americans. They were Americans, and they were on the news, and they reported a bunch of people with black hats and jackets.
Anyways, so the Nefesh Elokis, it looks into everything, the beginners of Ruch and the Sipah. What is it all about? That's why the Nefesh Elokis, in order to each to be able to think, it has to have a first basis. There is a first being, because everything is so ruchnis. What makes everything be? The first being. If not for the first being, there is no way that I can relate to any existence. Whatever, this last couple of comments, but I hope that we use this hour profitably. Okay?